This is a serious time. We're under grave threats again, and I think we need a president with a steady hand.
To play devil's advocate, do you think it's at all possible that your loyalty to your brother, while very admirable on a personal level, might be in some ways a political or policy liability, blinding you to mistakes he made?
I am holding in the hand some of the applications of the terrorists who killed my husband. All of these forms are incomplete and incorrect. Some of the terrorists listed their means of support as simply student, failing to then list the name and address of any school or institution. Others, when asked about their means of support for their stay in the United States, wrote myself and provided no further documentation. Some of the terrorists listed their destination as simply hotel or California or New York. One even listed his destination as no. Had the INS or the State Department followed the law, at least 15 of the hijackers would have been denied visas and would not have been in the United States on September 11, 2001.
Does anybody actually blame my brother for the attacks on 9/11? If they do, they're totally marginalized in our society.
Any person in a senior position within our government during this time bears some element of responsibility for our government's actions.
There was a very interesting report by Joel Mowbray from the Conservative National Review. And what he concluded was that expert analysis of these visas, the visa application forms of 15 of the 9/11 terrorists, showed that all of them among the 15 reviewed should have been denied visas under then existing law. It wasn't that the law was a problem and that we need to tighten the borders. It was that the law simply wasn't applied. 6 separate experts were interviewed by Mowbray. They analyzed the simple 2-page form and they came to the same conclusion. All of the visa applications they reviewed should have been denied on their face. And he catalogues some of the glaring problems with the visas, and he says even an untrained eye would be able to look at this and say this is impossible to allow these people into the country.
Does anybody actually blame my brother for the attacks on 9/11? If they do, they're totally marginalized in our society.
Obviously, Al-Qaeda was responsible for the terrorist attack of 9/11. But how do you respond to critics who ask, if your brother and his administration bear no responsibility at all, how do you then make the jump that President Obama and Secretary Clinton are responsible for what happened at Benghazi?
Well, it's the question on Benghazi, which is hopefully will now finally get the truth to it, is, was the place secure? They had a responsibility in the Department of State to have proper security.
In September 1999, a report, The Sociology and Psychology of Terrorism, was prepared for U.S. intelligence by the Federal Research Division, an arm of the Library of Congress. It stated, quote, "Suicide bombers belonging to Al-Qaeda's Martyrdom Battalion could crash land in aircraft packed with high explosives into the Pentagon, the headquarters of the CIA, or the White House." Again, that was in September 1999. This laundry list of historical indicators, in no way exhaustive, illustrates that long before September 11th, the American intelligence community had a significant amount of information about specific terrorist threats to commercial airline travel in America, including the possibility that a plane would be used as a weapon. On March 11th, 2002, Director of the CIA, George Tenet, stated, quote, "In broad terms last summer, that terrorists might be planning major operations in the United States. But we never had the texture, meaning enough information to stop what happened," unquote. On May 8th, 2002, Director of the FBI, Robert Mueller, stated, quote, There was nothing the agency could have done to anticipate or prevent the attacks, unquote. Once again, the historical facts indicate differently. Throughout the spring and early summer of 2001, intelligence agencies flooded the government with warnings of possible terrorist attacks against American targets, including commercial aircraft by al-Qaeda and other groups. The warnings were vague, but sufficiently alarming to prompt the FAA to issue 4 information circulars to the commercial airline industry between June 22nd and July 31st, warning of possible terrorism. On June 22nd, the military's Central and European commands imposed Force Protection Condition Delta, the highest anti-terrorist alert. On June 28, 2001, National Security Advisor Condoleezza Rice said, quote, "It is highly likely that a significant al-Qaeda attack is in the near future, within several weeks," unquote. As of July 31st, the FAA urged U.S. airlines to maintain a, quote, "high degree of alertness." One FAA circular from late July 2001 noted, according to Condoleezza Rice, that there was, quote, "no specific target, no credible info of attack to U.S. civil aviation interests, but that terror groups are known to be planning and training for hijackings, and we ask you, therefore, to use caution." 2 counterterrorism officials described the alerts of the early and midsummer 2001 as, quote, "the most urgent in decades," unquote. One thing remains clear from this history. Our intelligence agencies were acutely aware of an impending domestic risk posed by al-Qaeda.
Look, my brother responded to a crisis, and he did it as you would hope a president would do. He united the country, he organized our country, and he kept us safe. And there's no denying that. The great majority of Americans believe that, and I don't know why he keeps bringing this up.